For this lesson, I'm going to be moving quite quickly, so pause as you need to in order to complete each task and rewind if necessary. First, go ahead and download o3start.psd, and then we're going to be working on Chapter 3, working with selections from the class textbooks. If you want to use that as a reference, you may. What you're going to see is that we have a finished product that looks like this, but in order to get there, we are starting with a project that looks like this. So first thing that you're going to do is grab the selection tool. Remember that you can adjust the settings up here. Anywhere between 15 and 30 ought to be fine for this first task. What we're going to do is select the sand dollar here, and instead of, like the directions say, simply moving it like this, we're going to copy it and we're going to paste it as a new layer. The problem with this is once I deselect, now I can't move that again. I permanently destroyed those pixels. So this is not non-destructive editing. As an example, if I re-grab this area and move it, I have lost the pixels of the plate beneath. So I'm going to undo a couple of times, get back to here, copy, paste. I have a new layer. I'm going to call this dollar. And now if I, with this layer selected, take it, I can move it into place right here. If you're following along in the textbook, we are now moving on to the elliptical marquee tool. So if I grab the elliptical marquee tool right here, what I want to show you is that if you start off trying to grab something, you have to try to guess where it is. But if I press the space bar, you'll see that I can reposition my marquee tool. So I can get it to be exactly where I want it to be. Now if you'll wait 1 second, I need to let my dog outside. I'm recording this from my kitchen as we speak. Okay, the dog is outside, so now with that option selected, I can copy and paste. Now notice that I don't have anything that worked right here because I have this layer active. If I turn that off, you see there's no pixels, so it won't let me make a copy. So I can make sure that I select that. When I copy, paste, I now have a new layer. Just call this orange thing. And then let's grab our move tool and move it in to place. Refer to the textbook. You see it's right above that sand dollar area right there. Now moving along quickly, we're going to grab the thing that says Sally's seashell. So I'm going to zoom in on it and I'm going to click on the background. The trick here is with the elliptical tool, if I start in the middle and I work my way outward, if I press Alt, I can make the circle grow. And if I press Shift, then I can make the circle grow. I can make the ellipse grow as a circle, perfectly circular, and I can still use my spacebar to get it positioned exactly as I want it. And so once I have that selected, you can use the arrow keys to refine it, left and right and down, etc. You're going to make sure that the background layer is selected, copy and paste, and we're just going to call this Sally, and we're going to grab the move tool and move it into place. Now what I want you to do here is hold the Alt key with the move tool selected. If I click and drag, it's going to duplicate it. Do that 2 times so that I have 3 of them. Now I'm going to grab this middle one, press Control T, or Edit Free Transform. That's going to allow me to resize it. I'm going to commit that change by pressing Enter, clicking the checkbox up top. I'm going to do the same right here so that they get progressively larger. Now I can take all 3 of these layers and I can go to Layer, Group, Layers, and call this the Sally group. That way it just allows me to keep track of everything. I can still individually go ahead and reposition things as necessary. And now if I press Control, it allows me to actually switch between layers. What I mean by that is I hold Control and that automatically selects this layer, automatically selects this layer. When something's grouped, you have to be a little bit more specific about your selections, like so. What I want to do now is press click in the group so I have the drop down right here, grab all 3 of them. What we're going to do is actually, let me restate that. What I'm going to do is press Control and click in the thumbnail. And you see how it grabs all of the active pixels in that layer. I'm going to hold Shift and Control and click on these other 2 so that I have just a selection of these Sally seashells buttons. Now I'm going to add an inverted adjustment layer to this group right here. And it's going to apply to just that selected area. Next up, what I want to do is grab my rectangular marquee tool, and here's a really neat trick. I said that the selection tools all have addition and subtraction properties, so I'm going to switch over to the magic wand, and if I press Alt, you'll see that it gets a little minus sign right here, and I'm going to deselect everything except for this coral. I've got a train coming by. Okay, the train is done. The dog is outside. Now let me copy this and paste this. And notice what happened. I had the wrong layer selected. So let me undo that. Make sure I have the background layer selected and copy and paste. Now I can move this into the middle right here. We're going to switch to the magnetic lasso tool. Zoom in on this here seashell. Make sure the background layer is selected. And I'm going to go around this, and if you're having a hard time finding the edge, you may have to lay down a couple of anchor points by clicking right in here especially. Once we get to the end, we'll double click. I accidentally clicked off of it, so I can always go select reselect, and that's going to select the last thing that I had. Copy and paste that. Move it onto here. Control T or Edit Free Transform also allows us to rotate objects, and you can see that I have this little double arrow thing that pops up, which allows me to rotate it, but I could also enter in the value manually. So let's change this to -20, and we will apply it and kind of position it right here. Last thing, go ahead and select this in any way possible. I'm going to use the Quick Selection tool. I just grabbed the paintbrush by accident. Quick Selection tool on the background. Grab this Nautilus area. Use the minus trick to get rid of these areas that I don't want, like so. You know, I'm going to switch over and grab a magnetic lasso tool and zoom in and hold Shift to add to this selection, like so. Alright, and one little final piece to add. Alright, so now I can copy this, I can paste this, and I'm going to move it. Oops. I'm going to move it into the middle, and let me kind of reposition these items right here using my control click trick. Right here, I have to clean this up just a little bit more. So I'm actually just going to grab my eraser tool and destructively edit this piece. I will use a slightly larger brush size with a softer edge, be a little bit more forgiving, and clean that up. Oh, that was no good. As you're doing, I want you to pay as much attention to detail as you can. Once you're done, go ahead, File, Save As, change O3 Start to O3 Working, make sure it's saved as a PSD, and then submit it to Google Classroom. Good luck, take your time. I will check these when I'm back.